Hey there, so today we have another review and this is going to be a fun one. We're going to do another beer for Saison week. We're going to have blindfolds. We're going to talk a little bit about grains. It's going to be all kinds of fun stuff. So what do we have here? This is a beer from Left Hand. This is Saison Blé De Minuit, which is midnight wheat Saison. So this is a fun one, 6.8% Saison brewed with midnight wheat. So midnight wheat is obviously grain, it's wheat. And so generally one of the grains that a lot of brewers use is debittered black malt. So pretty much what happens is that I try to explain grains as in like you're toasting something or cooking something in the oven. You put it in the oven for a long time, it gets black, right? Well, that's what you can do with the grains. You can roast them. Same with coffee, chocolate beans as well, cacao. And so you can get it black. And then what they do is they remove the husk. So it's debittered. So it's not as like, ashy, burny, bitter, bitter chocolate and coffee flavors, right? So you remove the husk and it's debittered. Well, with midnight wheat doesn't have a husk. So it's supposed to be the grain that they use that has the least amount of roasty qualities, but still offer that kind of black component to the beer and also just a little bit of roastiness. So, granted, I know this is going to be dark beer, but I'm curious to see how this beer turns out without me seeing what it looks like and sort of like trying to smell and review it without seeing what it looks like, if that makes any sense. So check it out. So on the nose, it's got a little bit of this kind of like Belgian quality to it, right? It's got a little bit of that kind of like light funk. I don't know if this is a what kind of like yeast they use, but might have a little bit of that kind of like what kind of Brett is this? It's like a some amount of Brett. It's got that like fresh water pond kind of thing, if that makes any sense. A little bit funky farmy, but like more like wet, outdoors kind of thing. Yeah. A little bit of touch of floral, but yes, I certainly do get a little bit of light cocoa chocolate thing, maybe. And again, your vision very much skews what you sort of smell and taste. And obviously I'm looking for it now too, but honestly, it smells mostly like a Saison. It's got like that just fresh floral / like wet funky kind of thing. Cheers. Oh, that's weird, yeah. What's that? I know that flavor. This is hard, man. Blindfolding's hard. Blind, I would have guessed this was a Bière de Garde. I went there. That has a little bit too much of a roasty thing. There's a little bit of this kind of like light cocoa. Yeah, like watered down cocoa, like chocolatey thing. Very thin chocolate wafers, almost like gelt, but like even like thin chocolate wafers, like crispy chocolate wafers. So I guess not even quite like gelt. And there's that dry thing that goes on. There's a little bit of a phenolic kind of like thing, like that spicy kind of like dry thing that the phenolics do. Yeah, I suspect it might not have Brett in it. Just like a very expressive yeast strain. But it's got a little bit that's kind of like, I was talking about like freshness. It's got this little bit of like a dirty pond thing going on. Like now I'm thinking dirty. Like it's like got a little bit of this kind of just like, I don't know what it tastes like, but it smells like, just like dirty like water that's been a little bit swampy. There you go. Like people talk about funk. You can sometimes get like barnyard funk, like a horsey kind of thing. Maybe get a little bit of that horsey thing, maybe. That's Brett though, but its yeast strain is expressed in the sense of like, it's like, strangeness to it. But yeah, generally I get a little bit, it's kind of like Bière de Garde kind of thing. So it's like definitely got a little bit of oomph of flavor and malt. But for something that I suspect to be quite dark, it really doesn't have that much like roasty flavor to it. Hell, maybe I should give it a rating blind. I don't know. It's almost like a one-trick pony. I don't see a reason I'd like go nuts trying to drink, repeat after this beer. I think the roastiness, even the very slight touch of it, ends up like clashing a little bit with the phenolic flavors of the yeast. And honestly, like the beer itself is not even that like. What has a little? It has almost like a light kind of vinous quality. Like if you're like slightly chocolatey red wines, you might like this. I don't know. I'll stick to my regular Saisons. This for me probably gets a It honestly tastes a little bit like a local craft beer that, you know, from your local whatever brewery, and it's like not bad. And they obviously chose Saison yeast because it's very forgiving and like it could throw off all these interesting flavors. And like the beer, you know, those beers are like fine, but like, you know, for a large brewery like Left Hand, it's just not like something I'm like, oh wow, that makes sense. It just like, it's not singular in its goal and message. This beer for me gets a 85. So how dark does this beer turn out? Oh, it's actually not that dark. It's like sort of this like medium brown color coming out of the can. But then the beer is actually quite dark, yeah. That's a solid medium brown color. Yeah, medium browns, a little bit of chocolatey tones on the sides. But for how dark it is, you know, it honestly looks a little bit like, it honestly looks like a porter. And it really doesn't have that much roast quality to it. So yeah, fun one. Midnight Wheat. Hope you guys learned something. Again, fun. Try to blindfold yourself sometimes. I'm sure I would have been focusing a lot more on the kind of roasty flavors if I saw this beer. But, you know, blind, like, you know, it's like slightly in there. And, you know, you barely even smell it at all. So pretty interesting. Until next time, guys, cheers. Thank you so much for joining us for Saison Week. Later.